Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays. Yeah.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to your Tuesday night edition of Unscripted, live here on Facebook at Unscripted. We also live on the All Sports All Plays Network on their Facebook and YouTube channel. Go check them out for some more amazing sports content. Just a reminder, next Tuesday we're going to be going live on the Tiki channel for the first time. So we have 1 week until we kick things off over there. I'm your producer this evening, Logan Landers, and joining is my co-host, the host with the most, Jay McLovin. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Honestly, like I said, we just came off a really good weekend of football. There's been, obviously, we're only into Tuesday, and since the weekend, lots of things have come about, which I'm sure we're going to get into, that are very, very interesting topics and stuff like that. And also, we got a really good build up before we get to the Super Bowl. We got about a week and a half, I'm guessing.
Yeah, February the 13th. So we got about 2 weeks.
So we got about 2 weeks to really break down a lot of anticipation before that.
It's gonna be great, man. We got a great show here tonight. No Frankie. I love how Jay, once Brady he's officially announced his retirement. We talked about it on Saturday, but we have not seen Frankie since his boy has retired. So maybe on Thursday we'll have him on. He's just collecting his thoughts, I think. Yeah,
I think Frankie's definitely in the dumps right now about that one. But Frankie should be happy, though, because Tom is going to sign the one-day contract and go down as a Patriot. So he should be happy about that.
That is true. We'll see when that actual ceremony is. I'm sure it'll be after the playoffs and whatnot. So we will see. If you guys enjoy this content here tonight, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you have anything you want to comment about on the show, put it in the comments, and we will throw it up on the screen and talk about it with you. So without further ado, Jay, let's get into our first topic. Of course, like you mentioned, the playoffs, we got to talk about them. The conference round, right? The championship conference rounds with the Chiefs and Bengals and the Rams and the 49ers. So let's talk about the Chiefs and Bengals first, because that was the early game. Who saw this coming? The Bengals, 4 wins in 2020, and now they are 1 win away from winning a Super Bowl for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there's been a lot of talk about, the play of the Bengals, the play of the Chiefs, and how it all unfolded. And I'll tell you, if you don't believe in Joe Burrow by now, I don't know what more you want from him. The man went down 24-3, got it back. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was 24-6 at the half, correct?
Yeah, we'll go with that. I'll pull it up real quick and I'll look.
I want to say it was 24-6 at the half. But the long story short, there was a lot of bad coaching in that game that came out of, or I should say bad play calling that came out of that Chiefs organization. More importantly, that last play, or the last play at the half, didn't get them any points, but got them down within the 20, and they didn't even try to kick a field goal. And I don't understand why they didn't try to kick the field goal, because they lost the game by 3. Had they kicked that field goal, they probably would have gone into overtime, and who knows what would have gone on from there. So definitely some bad play calling. I think some of it might be attributed to Bieniemy. Some of it is probably attributed to Andy Reid. I give this game about 30 to 35% on the coaching for the loss, and I give it anywhere between 70 and 65% on Patrick Mahomes. On some errant passes and some sporadic passes that led to a couple of turnovers on his part. But I want to say Joe Burrow is a phenomenal player. How you go down 24-3 and come back, and I want people to understand this, why it's so phenomenal. Because you have to look at his first season in the league. and it was marred by injury, a very bad knee injury that tore quite a few different ligaments in there. And so he only played a handful of games with that first year. And so the second year he comes out is obviously this year. And which to me, Logan, and I don't know how you look at it, but for me, I didn't realize he's been in the league for 2 years. But truthfully, I think this was Joe Burrow's really true year. So I know he was a rookie last year, and technically he's not a rookie this year, but realistically, he was a rookie this year on the terms of experience.
Yes,
so
you're not wrong.
So it's very phenomenal to me that a guy that's really on his rookie year is in the Super Bowl with a team of the Bengals caliber that nobody ever saw coming, that Marvin Lewis and all the years that he was the quarterback there never quite achieved. Now, you can say Zach Taylor is a hell of a coach, and he is a hell of a coach. As a matter of fact, I think he's coach of the year, to be honest with you. Because let's be honest, he's also the one that built this team and selected Joe Burrow with the number 1 pick. And let's be honest, it wasn't like a hard call for Zach Taylor to pick Joe Burrow number 1. I mean, it really was kind of cut and dry. As a matter of fact, if he hadn't picked him, I probably would have fired him right there on the spot, and he would have even seen the first game. But the thing about it for me is, for the Bengals to be able to overcome what they overcame, and let's be honest, if you go back to the divisional round, they allowed Joe Burrow to get sacked 9 times. 9 times. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the conference round, he was only sacked 1 time. So does that mean that Tennessee had a better defense than what Kansas City had? Possibly. It very is probably most likely so. Kansas City's defense was a little suspect. But let's put some credit on the offensive line as well for the Bengals having corrected most of those issues, and also the coaching staff, and getting this offensive line ready to go for Burrow and not giving up the sacks that he gave up against Tennessee, which ultimately gave him what he needed to win this game. And also put some respect on Cincinnati's defense, and more specifically the run-stopping defense, for not allowing them to get a lot of runs off. So I think all in all, the Bengals played a hell of a game. The Kansas City Chiefs gave it a good run. But at the same time, people want to say Patrick Mahomes is elite. And I guess if you want to look at it from the current active quarterbacks currently going right now, against that measurement, he would be elite. But by all inclusiveness, in terms of all-time greats, he's not even close to being in the same realm as elite.
I'm going to comment here from Anthony Price saying, I think the question is Cincinnati that good, or if the Chiefs played bad to give up the game with bad play calling? I think it's a mixture of both. Yeah. I think it is, because the Chiefs should have won this game. They were up 18 points. But I also think the Bengals are playing with such a confidence right now, Jay, that they think they can't be beat, right? They won last week. No one thought they would against the Titans. They got sacked 9 times, like you mentioned. They still won. Then this week, they go into Arrowhead on the road in the Chiefs' home field, and they beat them in OT. Now, I'll talk about the Bengals in a second, but I don't know what the heck Patrick Mahomes was doing, Jay, because a guy that we all know, right, is a top 5 current quarterback in the league, right? Probably up there even closer now that Brady's gone. He didn't look like it too much, at least in one half of football. He did not look so good. I don't know what was going on in the fourth, right? Because remember, he took a sack with probably 2 or 3 seconds left that could have ended the game. But thankfully, he fell down, and they had to get a field goal for maybe 40-something yards, maybe, just off the top of my head, to send him in the overtime. So just his scrambling around the pocket for 15 seconds could have cost him. He did have some, like I said, he did throw that errant interception that ended up having the Bengals win the game in OT. I know after the coin toss, the Chiefs' social media tweeted out, "We won the coin toss," and their next tweet was final. And it was the score of them losing. So that was pretty great.
Let me ask you a question, Logan. I got a question.
Yeah, what's up?
I want to get your answer on this while you're giving your part or your take on this. I want you to include this in with your take. When it comes to Joe Burrow, and you think of, and I want people to keep this in context. I don't want this to get blown up like I'm trying to say that Joe Burrow is Tom Brady, because that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm not even coming in the same vicinity of that. But first of all, I'm going to ask you one quick question, and then I got a follow-up question. Number one, did Tom Brady get a Super Bowl his first year? His rookie year with the New England Patriots. When he took over, did he get a Super Bowl?
Yes.
He did. Damn it, Tom Brady. I thought it was year 2. Damn. Okay, well, I'm dated then. I thought it was year 2 he got. Okay, well, then never mind. I guess that blows my damn thought process out of the water. But I guess the second question I'm asking is, if Burrow gets a Super Bowl in his first year, and I guess the path I'm trying to ask you is I see a lot of attributes or characteristics in Tom Brady that he had that led to his legendary career. I see some of those same attributes and characteristics in Joe Burrow. I think his IQ, his ability to stay calm, his ability to work with the system that he's given and make it better. I see a lot of attributes that Burrow has that Tom Brady used for that legendary career. I guess, and I'm guessing what I'm asking is because he has some of those same attributes that Tom Brady has, and if he gets a Super Bowl in his first year, do you think that he's on a trajectory? Not saying he's going to get there, but is it the potential or trajectory to maybe, get to where, if he stays healthy, obviously, to where Tom Brady is currently?
Well, that's kind of a two-sided question, right? So obviously the way that he carries himself on the field, the way that he's been able to rally his team around, especially in the playoffs, it is very much Brady-esque, right? And if he does manage to win a Super Bowl for the Bengals for the first time in a long time, and he'll already get that statue being built, it reminds me of another young quarterback, the team that he beat with the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Let's not forget when Patrick Mahomes won that MVP, when he won the Super Bowl MVP, when he won the Super Bowl for the Chiefs a couple seasons ago. Everyone pegged him to be either the next Tom Brady, right? So I need to see. I do see the mannerism that you're talking about. I do, but I need to see him do it on a consistent basis, right? This is just year one, and meanwhile, everyone knew Tom Brady. No one thought he was going to be great, right? He wasn't even a first round pick, So the expectations for Joe Burrow to be there are massive. So far, he's living up to them, but we'll see if he can do it 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And then we can go back and see how he is. But at this moment, pretty much like you said, year one, he looks like he's going to be on track to have a tremendous career. Now, going back to the game, I think, like I said, he looked great. And if you would have told me, Jay, that the Bengals would have had more sacks on a quarterback than the Chiefs, I would have said you're crazy. Patrick Mahomes got sacked 4 times. Joe Burrow only got sacked once. I thought that would be the deciding factor. I thought the Chiefs would get to him multiple times. They sacked him
absolutely
4 times in the regular season. So I don't know what was going on here. And like Anthony Price says, the Chiefs are like the Packers. The offense is always good. The defense is always bad. And that is their weakness every year. Yeah, because, Burrow had a good game, 250 yards, 23 to 38 passing, 2 touchdowns, and interception. And also, big shout out to T. Higgins. He had a big game. When Jamar Chase was getting pretty much double-teamed the whole game, he stepped up big and had a phenomenal game. The defense played great as well. Like I said, they struggled in the first half. They gave up 21 points. But in the second half, they only gave up 3 points. And that was only in the fourth quarter to tie the game, send it in the OT. So big shout out to the Bengals defense for coming up clutch when it matters the most. And let's not forget, right, Mahomes, before he threw that late interception in overtime, he should have had one the play before that was right in, I believe, Eli Apple's hands, and he just flat out dropped it. And I was texting you guys, I'm like, that should have been a pick. And then immediately the next throw, it was intercepted by, I believe, Von Bell. So Mahomes he choked, right? We can all say that he choked. Big shout out to Evan McPherson, Big Money Mac, right? He's trademarking it. Yeah. And with the kick to send him to the Super Bowl, he was 4 for 4 on the day, responsible for 13 points, and kicked the 52-yarder. I mean, Jay, the way he's played in the playoffs, he's already up there, probably top 5 in current active kickers, right? You got to have Justin Tucker, Younghoe Koo. I throw Daniel Carter, and then probably him in there too. Those are 4.
Oh, absolutely.
So you got to throw him in there, just how good. He hasn't missed a kick this entire playoff run, I don't believe. So that's what you love to see. Special teams is where it really matters most, and defense, like Anthony Price is saying. The Chiefs, they should have won this game. You blew a huge lead, and it is what it is, right? I mean, they had all the weapons there. They were healthy for the most part. Mahomes, he didn't play the best. Kelsey had the ball a good bit. Hill was pretty good. But the turnovers, right, they had a total of, I believe, it looks like 2 fumbles. They recovered both of them, but still they couldn't hold on to the ball. The interceptions, and just like you said, the questionable play calling all kind of raveled into a loss for the Chiefs. And it's a game that they should have won, I feel, and they didn't. So they didn't come out with the win. And the Bengals, with probably, like you said, Coach of the Year with Zach Taylor, at least should be, that they were able to take advantage of all of that, all of their weaknesses, and now they are moving on to the Super Bowl. So let's move on to the NFC and talk about the Rams and the 49ers in another pretty close game. So talk about that one and how that one started out, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. I said it from the beginning. I felt like the Rams were going to win this one, and I said it for the reason why I said it was I felt like as long as Matt Stafford, does what Matt Stafford is supposed to do and not try to force anything, and as long as that defensive unit can put pressure on Garoppolo, and also also they can stop the run or contain, at least if they can't stop the run, contain Debo, that the Rams were going to win this game, and that's what happened, man. They allowed, their leading rusher was Debo, and he only had 26 yards. So that tells you right there that they stopped the run. Garoppolo, he had an okay game. Hey, he didn't do bad.
Yeah, not what he's expecting.
232, 2 and a pick. So, but Garoppolo also didn't really do anything extraordinary to help out his team either. So he didn't do a typical Garoppolo where, he was making catastrophic mistakes, but he also didn't help them either. And Stafford, like I said, 337, he had 2 touchdowns and a pick. So, he didn't do, anything more than what he was supposed to either. Cam Akers had, roughly 48 yards. So there wasn't a lot of running in this game. But where he did get it was Cooper Kupp had some hellified good catches. And so did also Odell Beckham Jr. And if y'all don't believe in Odell Beckham Jr. by now, y'all are just being salty on him. Which also, and I've also seen that, it posed with Odell Beckham Jr. based off of this game, was it really, truly Baker Mayfield's fault that Odell Beckham wasn't, was he the issue with Odell Beckham or was Odell Beckham? And I think it was Baker. I just think Baker just did a piss poor job of including Odell Beckham Jr. in that Browns offense. And I think if he could have included Odell Beckham a little bit more in that offense, there's no telling where the Browns could have gone. The Browns could have even been in the Super Bowl because they had all the pieces. They had the defense, the run game, the receivers, and all you need is a field general. And I think Baker was not the best field general from when Odell Beckham was there, and I think he was the issue because you see when Odell Beckham goes to the Rams, and let's be honest, the Rams have a lot of weapons there, and it's hard to include. They got Van Jefferson, they got Wood, they got Kupp, they got the running game. That's and that's not even your tight ends, Higbee and all the rest of them. So there's a lot to compete with there, and he still made it work. He wasn't saying, "Hey, me." But when the ball came, he made damn sure that he caught it and he was productive. And you can see it showed against the 49ers, and that's why the Rams are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was like you mentioned. Garoppolo had a typical day, right? Nothing crazy, but he didn't do awful by any means. The running game, not much to speak of. Usually Deebo Samuel's more involved, right? He did lead the team in catches with 4 and with receiving yards with 72, with, like you said, only 26 rushing yards. Usually he's a lot more involved. So a bit of a down game. That's just thanks to the Rams to the Rams defense. It was, it was 17-7 in the third going into the fourth. And the Rams were able to mount the comeback, right? Shut them out in the fourth, shut out the Niners in the fourth, and walk away with a 3-point victory. And Matt Stafford, we'll talk about him in just a second, but he had a really good game, right? He said over 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, only 1 interception, sacked just twice. But when he's got weapons like you mentioned, like Cooper Kupp, like Odell Beckham Jr., Higbee, and all the rest of the guys, it's pretty easy, right? It's an easier task than what he had in Detroit. And it's now been over a year now, Jay, like a year and a day since we had the Jared Goff for Matt Stafford trade. And it's looking pretty good right now for the Rams. That looks like a great trade for their part. As for the Lions, we'll see. We'll see what they do. But I want to give a big shout out, Jay, something that you didn't mention, but I got to give some love to Eric Weddle, leading the team in tackles with 9. This guy was on the couch a month ago.
Chilling.
He was retired. He's been retired for, I believe, a year or two at most.
2. I think 2 years.
Yeah. I think 2019 was the last year. So,
right.
2 years, right? Comes off the couch, leads the team in tackles, and now he's going to the Super Bowl. You can't get much better than that. So,
No, you can't. And real quick, Logan, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
The interesting and I want to segue super quick, but I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. But I just noticed when I was at the game, or not at the game, but when I'm watching the game on TV, I happened to notice that LeBron James was there on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want you to think for a minute, Logan. This is a man who, quote unquote, can't play with the team because of knee soreness. They send him back to LA for treatment, but yet he's on the sideline standing for long periods of time on that knee, number one. And number two, also subjecting his body to risk for being hit if a player goes out of bounds, like they do sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, and this is just me, man, I think LeBron's playing hooky. I don't know if that knee is such an issue that he ain't just playing hooky.
It's probably just a case of saying we can't just rest you anymore. There's got to be some type of right because they got on the NBA team for just resting players. So just say you got a knee soreness, just something minor, right? Just something not major, just something minor.
Yeah, and if you're the Lakers, do you really want your star athlete on the sidelines of an NFL football game where you know damn good and well it only takes one player to get slung out of bounds? You hit LeBron James, you knock him down. What happens then if he tears an ACL or MCL or PCL or meniscus or whatever else he might have?
You never know. Yeah.
I think I said I won't go down that rabbit hole, but I saw him on the sideline the other day, and I'm thinking like, man, you ain't resting that knee. You just didn't want to play a few games.
All right, let's keep it moving, Jay. Let's go on to our next topic, and it's the Super Bowl preview with the Rams and the Bengals.
Yes.
What do you think? No final scores yet. We'll get that in a later date, but just talk about the two teams going into this.
And I'm so torn on this game, Logan. Honestly, I'm torn on this game for many reasons, and I think this is why this matchup is so special to me. It's a very special matchup, and it should be special for a lot of people. It should be special in terms of Joe Burrow. The storyline is incredible. Zach Taylor, the storyline is incredible. The Bengals, the storyline is incredible. All that's on the line for them. Joe Burrow getting his first Super Bowl and having the respect put on his name. Same thing with Zach Taylor. Same thing with the Bengals finally getting over the hump, finally doing what they've never been able to do before. So much pressure, so much on the line. Great storylines all the way around. You could write articles for days on this.
You really
so
could.
I don't know if I really want him to win or if I want the Los Angeles Rams with Matt Stafford to win, because let's be honest, their storyline is just as great. You got Sean McVay who went all in. And I say all in, I mean all the way in. They don't see a first-round pick until 2024. That's all the way in. Then you bring in Matt Stafford, who you believe is the guy that's going to get you to the promised land. You think Matt Stafford's got pressure on him? His whole life he's been told for the last 12 years of sacrificing himself for the Detroit Lions, never complaining, always biding his time. Them saying that the knock on him was he can't deliver in the big moments. He has no playoff or no Super Bowl appearances in Detroit in 12 years. What is he going to do for the Rams? So now he goes from a team where everybody knows that he can't win a Super Bowl. He goes to the Rams where, by all intents and purposes, you have a great defense. You have a great run game. You got a great receivers. You got great play calling. There is absolutely no reason why you should not have a Super Bowl other than yourself. So you are the reason if they win or don't win. And that is a storyline for you. Will you win or will you not win? So there's so much pressure on both sides of the balls for different reasons. And I guess I feel like if I look at the more complete team, then I would go with the Rams because the Rams had the more complete team. Because the knock on the Cincinnati Bengals is their offensive line. So I'm telling you, man, I'm so torn that it's minusculely small things that make me think that I believe the Rams are going to win this game, but I think it's going to be a very, very extremely tight game. I think Burrow is going to play Burrow-esque. And I think regardless of whether Burrow comes away with the Super Bowl or not, you still got to put respect on his name, and he still should be slowly creeping into that category of, hey, we need this guy's, he's going to be going to the top of the list in terms of quarterbacks, in this league. And if you don't have him in your top 5, then there's something wrong with you.
We got a comment here from Anthony Price saying, if Cincinnati's having line problems now, they're going up against Donald Miller, plus Ramsey's going to go travel against Chase and try to shut him down.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Jay said,
I agree with you. Absolutely.
The defensive line for the Rams is experience, right? They got a lot of experience on this team. The offense is high flying. Probably one, like you said, the one knock on the Bengals is that they have a lot of young guys, right? They don't have a lot of veterans like the Rams do.
Right.
Guys who have either been to the Super Bowl, been in playoffs, been around the league for a couple of years. And that's just not something that the Bengals are really, they don't have a lot of. Meanwhile, the Rams are stacked. So it's a tough matchup, right? Because like you mentioned, the Rams, are they a more complete team? Yeah. But the Bengals have just been playing out of their mind lately. So I don't know, because they're both, they're both on a hot streak. There's a reason they're both in the Super Bowl. Either way, an SEC quarterback's going to win it, right? Because Matt Stafford went to Georgia, Joe Burrow, LSU. And if Joe Burrow wins, right, I saw this, if he wins, he'll be, I think, either the first or the one of 3 quarterbacks to win a national championship, a Heisman, and a Super Bowl.
How crazy
he's only doing that, Jay, within like 2 years. Let alone his
That's
whole
gotta be
career.
crazy.
So we'll see. Meanwhile, for Stafford, like you said, it's a little bit different, right? He's on the opposite end. His career's winding down a little bit. He's been in the league since 2009. So he's been in the league for quite a while. Like you said, he didn't do nothing in Detroit. He couldn't do anything in Detroit because he didn't have anyone except for Calvin Johnson. And now that he's finally on a good team, he led them to the Super Bowl, right? He had a tremendous year. We can talk about Odell and everyone else, but he's the quarterback week in and week out who helped get them to where they are now. So it's an interesting dynamic. It's going to be a great game. Like I said, we're not going to get final scores or nothing yet, but I'm excited, man, because we're going to have to see, right, who's going to be in, who's going to be out. We'll see if COVID protocols rears its ugly head, and also just injuries if some guys are going to be hurt.
And I got a question.
Like I said, we got a little bit of time, but what's up?
Hey, my question is this, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Von Miller on the Peyton Manning-esque Super Bowl team with the Broncos?
Yeah, I believe that's where he won the. I think he won the Super Bowl MVP. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right. And that's my point on that one is that is a really huge edge that the Rams have over the Bengals. Is the fact that they have a Super Bowl, winning guy. Not only Super Bowl winning, but he's on your defense and he's your MVP. And how much weight do you think or encouragement, or how much motivation do you think he's going to be for that team?
Yeah, he's trying to get that next ring, right? Because, he's not going to be around for a whole lot longer. He's been in the league for a while. Aaron Donald, right, probably, future Hall of Famer, one of the most feared, right, rushers in the league for multiple seasons now. He's trying to get his first ring. So there's a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, man. But it's going to be interesting, and I can't wait for the game coming up in about 2 weeks. It's going to be a great one. All right, keeping it in football. My team, the Raiders, they hired Josh McDaniels, sold him over from Frankie's Patriots. He is now going to be the head coach. I'll go ahead and start things off with this.
Yeah.
I'm all right with it. I loved what Coach Rich did. He was great as interim coach. I will say, though, the first thing, Jay, that I saw that came out of his mouth before they even started the interview, Mark Davis said that the first thing that McDaniel said was it was a fumble. So going back to that snow game, he's already warming up to me a little bit, right? So I'll give him that. But we'll see what he does, right? Because he basically is at the point of no one's safe, right? Everyone's got to compete for their spots, and that's how it normally is for a new head coach. The Raiders got talent, right? They do need to improve. They got to have a good draft. But I think from just kind of what I've seen on Twitter and everything, is that he's going to try and do maybe like a 2 tight end system with Waller and whoever else they bring in. We'll see. I mean, Derek Carr was 5th in the league, and I think top 5 in the league in passing yards this year. So they've got a good quarterback. They've got Jacobs at the running back. They've got some good weapons. They just got to improve their defense, and we'll see what Coach McDaniels and also the new GM, who they also got from the Patriots. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. So we'll see what they can do in the first NFL draft come April. So I'm not like in love with it. I wasn't on the Josh McDaniels bandwagon, wanting him desperately to come over and coach the Las Vegas Raiders. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll see what he can do as his tenure as head coach. And anything was better than what John Gruden had. So we'll see what he can do in the meantime. But what were your thoughts seeing this happen the other day?
Yeah, I was looking at I couldn't find. I was trying to look for the Dan Ziegler or Dave Ziegler.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, so that's who they brought in. They brought in Dave Ziegler from the Patriots, and then of course, he's already familiar and comfortable with Josh McDaniels, bringing him over as well. So you have basically the Patriots upper level and offensive coordinator coming over to the Raiders. Here's the thing. I was not happy at first about this hire in terms of, or impressed or excited, or I didn't think it was a sexy pick at first. I just did not. I guess I have flashbacks to his Denver days when he was just quite horrible. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is, Logan, second chances could be awesome, right? If you look at Pete Carroll, when he first came into the league, he was with New England Patriots. Terrible, horrible. Yeah. Went back to college coaching. Comes back with the Seattle Seahawks a year or two later, wins the Super Bowl. Okay. That's phenomenal. Then you look at Brian Belichick, his first coaching stint was with Cleveland, and you know where Cleveland went. Horrible. Got fired from Cleveland. Comes back, takes the assistant management positions underneath the Jets. Bill Parcells was supposed to be the Jets' next replacement as head coach when Parcells stepped down. Spurned the Jets, went to the Patriots, and as we know, history was made, and 6 Super Bowls later, now this is where Bill Belichick is. So I guess if you're looking at the history of things, Josh McDaniels' failure at Denver, and I'm hoping the lessons that he learned from Denver should set him up for success with the Raiders. And if that is the case, then Logan, if you look at Pete Carroll's second tenure, Super Bowl. If we look at Bill Belichick's second tenure, Super Bowl. Josh McDaniels' second tenure should, by history, lend you a Super Bowl.
Yeah, by history, yeah. You ain't wrong, Jay.
I think when he went to Denver, he tried to be Bill Belichick.
Yeah, and I was just about to say.
It didn't work for him. He's not Bill Belichick.
That's the one mistake that pretty much all the guys from Bill Belichick's tree do, right?
Yeah.
They learn under him, whether they're coordinators or whatever. They go to another team, and they try and act like Bill Belichick, and they end up getting fired pretty much after one season for the most part. Yeah.
All Josh McDaniels has to do is just be himself.
Right. You don't need to
do what he knows works for him and implement that system into where he goes next.
It all depends, right? Because like with Belichick, right, he rules with the iron fist, and everyone respects him because he's produced. Josh McDaniels ain't won a Super Bowl, right? He hasn't led a team to a lot of victory, right?
Right.
So go in there, just get the vibe of the team, right? Everyone loved Coach Rich, and if you can, right, if you could just kind of mask that and just figure out if the team needs, if they need a little bit of harsh love, if they need, just having a nicer coach, right? Just as long as the players respect you, they'll play better on Sundays. And usually that produces more wins, right? Because you don't usually see a lot of guys who win Super Bowls come out and bash their head coaches. So just don't go and be Bill Belichick 2.0, and I think he'll be fine. But like you said, Jay, I think it is important that even though he didn't have a good tenure at Denver, I think he's learned from that. Like you say, he went back to New England. He figured out what he needed to do. And I think because I would rather take a chance. I don't know about you. I'd rather take a chance on a guy who's been a head coach before than a guy who's never been one at all. Just because they at least know the responsibilities and the day in and days out, as opposed to a coordinator, right, or someone who's never been a head coach. So that's why I'm all right with this hire, because he has been a head coach. I get the record wasn't the best, but at least he knows the grind of being a head coach in the NFL. So we'll see how he can do.
Hey, I got a question for you. Just one question. Given all of the issues that have gone on with the Rooney Rule and everything else, and I don't know, and this is why I'm asking you because this is your team, so I know you have a better handle on this than I do. What all? I know they brought in Harbaugh, correct?
I think they talked to him.
They were going to bring him in, and I think he wound up settling with Minnesota before he got there, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, though. But who else have they brought in? Have they brought in any minority guys at all? Have they looked at any minority guys?
Off the top of my head, I'm not too sure. But I can check it out and see.
Okay, well, we can be a topic for another show. We can research that and look at it for another show. It's just one thing I didn't know. I didn't hear a lot of candidates really being thrown out for the Raiders job. And
they interviewed Jared Mayo from New England, I believe.
They interviewed Mayo.
Yeah, they interviewed him. They were talking. One of the two, I don't remember which one it was. So they did at least talk to him. And that's the thing, Jack. I would hope that they would, at least go and interview a minority head coach because they Art Rooney was with the Raiders.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with that. Is the Raiders have had a lot of issues, right? I mean, they had issues with Gruden, and that's not their fault. What Gruden did, that's Gruden's fault. But it just seems like the Raiders are in, or their name is always thrown in the mix with that kind of stuff. You just had what's his name with the drunk driving incident. Then you have Gruden. Yeah, and I'm just saying that if they had not done a minority candidate, would that open up Pandora's box for even more stuff to come their way? And that's why I was just trying to make sure that I was hoping that they had interviewed a minority candidate, and gave that his due process.
Yeah. Also, my bad. Art Rooney was with the Steelers, I was thinking of Art Shell. Art Shell, I'm
about to say you had me on Art Rooney. I was, but I was thinking about the Rooney Rule. And
right. So I mean, let's not forget, right? Art Shell, he was one of the first black head coaches, in the NFL. So,
absolutely.
I mean, like I said, the Raiders, they have they primarily do a great job with interviewing minority head coaches, giving them jobs. So like I said, well. I'm cool with the McDaniel hire. We'll see how he can do. And hopefully, like I said, get a Super Bowl. All right. Jim Harbaugh, right? His name's been thrown around in Minnesota for the Vikings. Is he the right fit, or do you think he's going to go back to the Wolverines in Michigan? What you got?
Oh, I like Harbaugh. I really do. I like Harbaugh for a lot of things. I think he would. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You think he's going to go and sign with the Vikings, you think?
I think so, Logan. I really do. I look at it like this. Number one, Harbaugh was successful already in the NFL. I mean, let's be honest. He was in the Super Bowl with help me out here. What was the quarterback? The one with all the controversy? Kaepernick. Thank you. He was with the Super Bowl with Kaepernick. And, I mean, listen, if you get to the Super Bowl, in my opinion, or if you build to the Super Bowl, all right, you're already in good company.
Yep.
And then he goes and he goes to Michigan, and he takes a program from basically nothing and puts it into the Final Four this year, competing for a national championship. So he has experience in building cultures, and he has experience in building winning cultures. He's got experience in a lot of different areas. And correct me if I'm wrong, he was an offensive coordinator at one point before he became a head coach, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
And that's what I was believing as well. So I think, who do you got coming up, or who do you got right now? You got Kirk Cousins. So, I think you need a guy like Harbaugh. Harbaugh comes into your organization. All you really got to do is make a few tweaks on your defense, and you're talking Super Bowl. Because you got the wideouts and Van Jefferson and Thielen. You got the running back in Dalvin Cook. You got an offensive line, and you have a quarterback in Kirk Cousins. So I don't know what more do you need? And you have a good defense as well. So I think at the end of the day, this position or this team looks really, really attractive. And he comes here and he's going to look like a damn super mega star because he can take this team and make it win.
Yeah. We'll see, because I don't know. I don't know if he's going to leave. Like you said, he brought Michigan to the Final Four for the football this past year, right? Couldn't get the job done against Georgia, who ended up being the national champions. And just for that reason alone, I don't think he's going to leave. It does say, I mean, there are reports coming out, right? I got an article here from Bleacher Report saying that Coach Harbaugh interviewed for the Vikings head coaching job and conveyed legitimate interest in taking the job per ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. He also added that the Vikings believe Harbaugh is, quote, ready for a return to the NFL and is considered in the mix for the job. So maybe a little bit more interest than I thought, but I think he would be a good fit, right? Because, I mean, Minnesota, right, they were in the playoffs a couple of seasons ago, and that, I mean, it just didn't work out with Coach Zimmer, right? He was there for, I think, 8 or 9 seasons, and they just got to start fresh, right? They just hired a GM not too long ago, and, if everything works well, I think that the fans will get behind him, and as long as everything works out, they have a decent team. You got a veteran Kirk Cousins, you got Dalvin Cook, you got Justin Jefferson, you got a lot of talent, so I think it would be a good fit. So I'd be cool with seeing it. I just don't think he's going to leave Michigan, only because he signed a contract extension not that long ago. So I think he might stick it out there. Then when his contract's up in a couple seasons, then we'll see. But I'm sticking to it. I've said that since the rumors came out. So we will see what he does. All right, Jay, let's keep it moving on to our next topic here. Talking some more football. Jim Garoppolo and the 49ers got knocked out this past weekend. Did we see his final game as a 49er? What do you think?
Yeah, I think, there's been a lot of speculation of what they're going to do with Garoppolo. My personal opinion, I really believe that they should let go of Garoppolo and put Trey Lance into the situation and let Trey Lance because you drafted this guy and you drafted him pretty highly in the first round.
Third overall, I believe.
Exactly. But yet you're not playing him. And if you don't play him, how do you expect him to get better? Unless you if you're in win now mode, which I guess that's what they're looking at. We're in win now mode, which, by the way, you didn't win now. So now you're even further behind the 8 ball.
Yep.
And development of your future, right? So why not put Trey Lance in there? Why not let him show you, hey, I'm either A, going to win, or B, I'm going to lose. And here's the deal. I think you give him 6 games. How long is the season now? It's 17 games, 18 games?
17 games.
It's 7. Okay, so it's 17 games, right?
Yeah.
So I think you give him at least 6. If you don't want to have a losing season and you want to see whatever, give him 6 games. Give him 6.
Yeah, it's 18 games. 18 games. So same thing.
Yeah. Okay. But give him like 6 or 7 games and see if he can do it.
Yeah.
Because you were 9-7 anyway with Garoppolo. So give him 6 or 7 games. Maybe hold on to Garoppolo. Give him 6 or 7 games and see what you get out of it. I mean, maybe maybe Trey Lance will surprise you. And if he doesn't, then you know what you got in Trey Lance. And you can let him go and pursue somebody else. But right now, you got a guy who you took number 3 or whatever number overall, and you're letting him ride the pine where he's not doing a damn thing.
Yeah, he was drafted 3rd overall. If I'm not mistaken, I think the 49ers maybe even drafted up to get him. And currently, Garoppolo is under contract for 2022 for about $24 million. He's unrestricted in 2023. So I don't know, Jay. I mean, we mentioned it on the show with Philly Sports Guy last Thursday. I thought that send him over, send him to the Packers. Have a veteran.
Yeah.
He's only going to be there for a year, right? Because they still got Jordan Love. I don't know if they trust him enough to start.
Oh, I don't think
Aaron Rodgers is pretty much gone, you would assume. He wants to be on a winner. He wants to be on a contender. He doesn't want to go to a rebuild. The 49ers got to the championship game. They got to the conference championship. Why not go to – could you imagine him with Ayuk, with Samuel, with all of those guys, and a solid defense? I think that would be a good combination. So I think we have seen the last of Jimmy Garoppolo as a 49er. If they go with Trey Lance, right, I think that's fine. You drafted him high overall. But overall, I mean, they've got some options to play around with. I just don't think – I just think you got to get someone a little bit more talent. Also, Frankie's chiming in saying Jimmy's going and leaving and going to Houston, where his career will go to the drain. because no one will hear from him.
Well, I mean, and I don't even think Houston takes him on for the simple fact that, I mean, number one, who are they going to trade for Jimmy, number one? And number two, they're in rebuild mode, and Jimmy's not a rebuild mode quarterback, so I don't see that happening. But I understand what Frankie's saying. I think what you're saying, him going to Green Bay keeps them competitive, number one, because I'm going to tell you right now, Jordan Love is not the answer. I've already heard bad rumors about him in practice, throwing terrible balls that don't even look good. So I don't think they believe in him at all. And I think that Jimmy G keeps them competitive for what they have in store. And the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he's damn – how crazy is that, going to San Francisco, the same team that he said would be disappointed for not drafting him, and then he winds up going there. And what if he wins with them? How crazy would that be?
I'm looking at a few teams here, Jay, some favorites, right? I got an article here from CBS Sports. So they have listed under the favorites to land Jimmy Garoppolo, and I want to get your just quick thoughts on this. We have the Broncos. That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, I can see the Broncos doing that.
We got the Buccaneers. They need a quarterback now. Yeah,
they do.
That might.
The Broncos are either bringing a quarterback in, or they're going to rebuild mode themselves.
Yeah, because I mean they are in caps. They do have trouble with the cap space. We'll see. He said Frankie's mentioning the Vikings.
I don't see them doing that trade. I think Vikings is going to be fine there. I don't see them making that trade.
He said either way he wants to go to a winner. I see they have on here the Saints. I don't see that happening.
No, I don't.
Here's one though. Here's one I haven't heard. The Steelers.
Now that would be a good
interesting.
Spot. Yeah,
that's interesting. And finally, I see two more teams, like Frankie said, the Texans, and then also the Washington. They're going to get a name tomorrow, so on Thursday we'll talk about their new name. But for now, they're still the Washington football team. So, I mean, I don't trust Taylor Heineke. I mean, he's nothing special, I don't think.
No, and I don't know.
They did not this year, at least.
And I don't know that Garoppolo would make I don't think he would make a huge difference with Washington anyway, to be honest with you. I think he would give them at about a 500 ball club.
I think out of those I've listed, I think the Broncos could work. I think the Steelers could work. I like those two probably maybe ahead of the Packers, because Packers don't got no money either. So
Tampa, and that's the thing though, Tampa doesn't have it either. Tampa don't have the money for him. They're trying to get 23 restricted free agents or free agents under contract, and they're struggling to even do that. So Jimmy would have to take a pay cut if he wanted to go to Tampa.
Yeah, we'll see where the GQ model is going to go, right? Because he's going to end up somewhere. He's going to be a starter. So we will see where he ends up in the near future. All right, Jay, is it time that we put some respect on Matt Stafford's name?
Man, I'll tell you, Logan. I say Texas because the GM is a former yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And I get that. I get it. I just don't think that they'd
have to trade a lot for him though. Because
you're not going to go Texas,
I don't know what you'd want. I don't know. I don't know what the Texans have, so I don't know.
Frankie's been smoking the hashish. It's kind of thinking crazy. But no, hey, I'll tell you this. Matt Stafford, if you're not putting respect on his name by now, then you're obviously not watching football.
Right.
Because like I said, he did great in Detroit. It's just Detroit didn't do great by him. And he also, he did well with throwing the ball because Megatron has a single season record for receiving yards. And guess who threw him the damn ball? Matt Stafford. Same thing with Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp can make a number one wide receiver look like a number one wide receiver very well.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. He went up against Tampa's defense. He went up against the 49ers defense. And he did not turn the ball over hardly at all. I think he didn't. Matter of fact, he went perfect. No interceptions against Tampa, and he had one pick against the 49ers. So if you haven't figured out by now, this guy throws the ball a lot, for a lot of yards, and he's not making the mistakes that people said that he would make. And if he gets a Super Bowl out of this, how many more Super Bowls are we wondering could he have gotten had he been traded sooner in his career to a more appropriate franchise?
Yeah, you're not wrong. And also, too, right, I know that in Detroit he didn't have much, but come on, it's Detroit. Like Frankie said, it's not the players, the organization. Look what happened to Jared Goff. Yeah, I mean, I do like Dan Campbell. Don't get me wrong, I love Dan Campbell. I think he's a great head coach for them because even though their record wasn't great, they were competitive. You can at least say they weren't just getting killed by 30 points. They were at least putting up a fight.
And you got to give Dan Campbell time. He just got there.
Right. He's got to get a few years of drafting and maybe free agents. We'll see. But also, Jay, now that Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger are retired, Matt Stafford is top 3 in terms of active players for passing yards. Right. He's got almost 50,000. Let me see here in terms of touchdown passes. In terms of touchdown passes, he's top 3. Right? And the only people ahead of him pretty much are Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan. I mean, the guy's been in the league a lot less than both those guys, right? Aaron's been in the league since, 2006? Matt Ryan, 2007, 2008, 1-2. And in terms of just games also, Matt Stafford's only played in 182 games. That's a lot less than both Ryan and Rodgers. So he's put up a lot of big numbers for a lot of years, right? In total, he's got 323 career touchdowns, 161 interceptions, close to 50,000 yards for a 63% completion percentage. So, and for a guy who throws the ball a lot, Jay, he throws the ball a ton. He's thrown the ball 600 times this year, and his career high was back in 2012. He threw it 700 plus times. So it's not like he's barely thrown the ball, right? Like Jimmy Garoppolo or somebody. He's thrown the ball a ton. And he's still having good completion percentage. He's one of the more healthy quarterbacks in the league, right? He played in, I believe, all of the games this year. And he's, except for maybe a season or two, he's played in pretty much every single game. It's just he's been in a crappy organization, and now that we see he's got some good talent around him, not just one player, he's thriving, right? So
absolutely,
I think he should have had more respect on him back when he was in Detroit, but I think now that he's in a better light with a better team, he's getting the respect he deserves. All right, let's keep it moving on with our next topic. Let me find it here. All right, going to your team, Jay. I'll let you start things off, obviously. Woo! Are the Rockets rebuilding correctly? A bit of a tough loss last night with the Warriors, though. I don't know what Porter was doing, talking trash to Curry, but I mean, man, for that, y'all probably would have won that game.
Yeah, I do think look, it's going to be a slow process rebuild. I don't know think it's going to happen overnight, but I do think they're going in the right direction. The one thing that I would like to see the Rockets implement a little bit more of, and that's self-discipline. I think sometimes this team can go left or go right on you in terms of their conduct and the way they handle themselves. I think we saw that with Michael Porter and Christian Wood both got benched for their play or for their antics, right? So I mean, Jalen Green, the guy is playing well. He's like number 4 out of his draft class. He was drafted number 2, but I think he's right at, in terms of performance, right at about number 4. I think is where he's at on the list. I think Cade and Evan Mobley are a little bit ahead of him, and I think there's one other guy ahead of him. But he's doing well. I mean, they got the right piece in him. I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to be a good piece. He just needs to get a little bit more poise and professionalism in him. And I think Christian Wood is doing good. This team is a very young team. I think that they have Eric Gordon, who is obviously been playing well for a long time. I think that, it wouldn't be bad if the Lakers traded for him. But the problem is the Lakers don't have any picks to give up for him. So I don't know who you would take on there. But if they could find a suitor for Eric Gordon and get some more draft picks, that would make me really happy. And I love Eric Gordon. Mm-hmm. But Eric Gordon is wasting his time on the Houston Rockets because he's a little older. He's not really meant for a rebuilt team. He's more meant for a team that's ready to compete now. And he's just that final piece of the puzzle. That's how I see Eric Gordon, right? Because he's a very good shooter. He plays good defense. He'd be a perfect 6th man of the year addition to some team out there that could use him to get over the hump. I think maybe, I don't know if it'd be the Utah Jazz and their injuries. Maybe they might be able to use them. Yeah. Whoever they have, if the Rockets need picks, that's the point. To keep rebuilding this team through the draft, which is what I want them to do. I want them to build themselves through the draft. And if they can get a few more picks out of it, I think the better their chances are going to be. But I do think they're on the right road. I like Paul Silas. I think he's doing a great job coaching this young team, but they need a few more pieces, and I think they're going to get to the draft.
Frankie's saying this franchise is horrible. They should have moved them to Canada and joined the Toronto up there. Move them to Vancouver. Be the Vancouver Rockets.
Hey, Frankie only says that because he's used to being on the Lakers and whatever.
It's about time we have a segment on this team. They are rebuilding horribly. There we go. The Montreal Rockets.
See, one thing I love about Frankie is he'll be real quick to tell you that they need to rebuild, but he won't tell you how they should do it. Frankie, I want to see in the comments how think
should they rebuild,
Rockets should rebuild. Give me your blueprint. Give me your map.
So I was looking at this team, Jay, and currently at the moment, you're 18th in the league in points per game with about 108, 109. You're 27th in rebounds with about 43. You're 23rd in assists with 23 assists. But the thing I noticed is you're awful in opponents' points per game. Your defense gives up 116, 170 points a night. You need some defense, right? You got to get some guys who can stop the ball.
Yeah.
Frankie's saying you guys need a better coach. That's the start.
I don't think so. I
and a better GM.
A better GM. Well, what GM out there do you think would be better, Frankie? Like what GM and coach do you think we should go after?
But that's I was looking here, Jay. You have a ton. You have more guys on your team who are not even in their 20s than you do guys who are in their. You only have, I think, 2 or 3 guys who are in their 30s. Right. That is Eric Gordon, DJ Augustine, and John Wall, right?
And you already know they're trying to get rid of Wall. They're trying to trade him.
Oh yeah. I don't know who they're going to get though. He ain't played.
Hey, I'm willing to take on, like I told you, Logan, and I think it would work, and I don't think the Lakers are going to do it, but they should do it. They should do it. But here's the problem is they don't have the damn picks. Unless they give us long-term pick. Okay, look, whatever your long-term pick, your first rounder is, give me that one. Because by the time you get to that long-term pick, all the players you currently have on there right now won't even be on there. And you probably will suck. And then you're going to have to rebuild your own damn self. So I'll take that pick. You give me that pick, and I'll give you John Wall. I want 2 or 3 picks. Or no, just give me 2 picks. Give me 2 picks, and I'll give you John Wall. You give me Russell Westbrook because the money's going to wash itself out. But if I could walk away with it with 2 future picks, I'll take that as a win.
Frankie says Luke Walton, potentially for head coach.
I don't like Luke Walton. I don't think he's the guy. He couldn't do it with Sacramento. He couldn't do it with LA. What's he going to do with Houston on a rebuild?
Yeah, we'll see. The trade deadline is, I believe, I think it's next week. So I found an article here, right? Because I mean, the one guy that you probably need to trade if you want to get some draft picks is Christian Wood, right? That's your big guy. That's the one who's everyone's going to want, and you can get some legit draft picks from him. So I found an article here, Jay. 3 teams, 3 legit trades probably for Christian Wood. All right, let's see here. To the Hornets for P.J. Washington and Mason Plumlee. Not horrible.
No, I'm not excited about that at all.
Another one here. This is on spacecityscoop.com, so Rockets fan site. For the Raptors, right? Oh, here. All right, here we go. So the Rockets would trade Christian Wood and DJ Augustine for Goran Dragic because said he wants out of Toronto. A 2022 top 10 protected first round pick and a 2023 second round pick. What do you think about that one?
Oh God, I don't know.
Better than the first one.
The Raptors are playing. They're playing pretty good this year. They're not playing bad, so they won't have a top 10 pick this year.
And then the next one I see here, Jay, is the Rockets trade Christian Wood to the Bucks for Brook Lopez, a second round pick, and it just says the next conveyable first round picks. I don't know what year that would be.
How old is Christian Wood? I know he's in his 20s. Is he below the age of 26?
Christian Wood is currently 26 on the dot. He turns 27 in September.
So I gotta figure the Rockets are about 3 years away of drafting or free agency from being competitive. So that would put Christian Wood at 29.
Yeah, that I would. Yeah. I mean, there's no point really in keep. I
think I keep him honestly.
Yeah,
I think I do. No, we're not bringing back Mike D'Antoni.
You don't bring back Mike D'Antoni?
Hell no. No, I went through that hell. I'm not bringing him back. Jay's a Dallas fan. Man, whatever, Freddie. I'm not listening to you.
Right. He said he's never seen you in a Rockets jersey.
But no,
he's messing around. He's like, he remembers it now.
Yeah, he knows. I just feel like Christian Wood is still a good piece that they're building on with Jalen Green and with Micah Porter. I think they need to just continue to follow the scheme with the picks they have and make it work that direction. Unless, like I said, unless somebody's willing to give me some more current first round draft picks that are better than a protected first round pick from the Toronto Raptors, which won't be a good pick for him anyway.
So the NBA trade deadline is on Thursday, February 10th. So we will have a show that night, and we will be talking about all of what's went down that day. So it's gonna be a fun show.
Yes.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Pretty simple, Jay. Who is your pick for the NBA Coach of the Year as of February 1st?
Go give yours first because I gotta look up the guy's name that I'm thinking of.
Mine's pretty easy. I think it should be, it should be pretty simple. And it's out there, right? It's out there in Memphis. Because, who thought the Grizzlies would be doing this good? It's Taylor Jenkins, man. It's got to be. The Memphis Grizzlies have surprised everyone this year. Who thought they would be a top 5 seed in the West? It's got to be. If it isn't Taylor Jenkins, this award is rigged. The only one I could see, and Jay, I'll let you give your pick, and I'll name my other one.
You took the one that I had.
Oh
no, because that's the name I was looking up. But hold on once. Give the one you want to have, and then I'm gonna come back with another one that I think should get it.
Well, I'm just gonna go to the comments here because Freddie Henderson read my mind and put my pick. Jay, he has JB Bickerstaff from the Cavs. That's another, the Cavs are.
Yeah, the Cavaliers is good. The one that I was thinking of was Billy Donovan of the Chicago Bulls and his 32 offensive lineups that he's run this year.
Yep,
and had them at almost first place. So I think, look, man, you're not going to go wrong, Logan. You can go Taylor Jenkins. You can go you can go Billy Donovan. You can go BJ Bickerstaff. All three of these guys are putting up incredible numbers with teams, quite honestly, that are doing better than what we expected them to be doing. So yeah, absolutely. I just like Taylor Jenkins a little bit better because I feel like what he's working with in terms of not having Ja Morant and still going 11-2 without Ja Morant. You bring him back. Let's be honest. I honestly believe that this Memphis Grizzlies team could win out of the West, go to the finals, and probably most likely what I think is going to happen is it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks in the finals from the East. I think it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is going to be is how can Memphis deal with the height and strength of the Milwaukee Bucks to take the crown? That's where I think it gets a little bit more difficult. And I think Phoenix is going to have that same issue with Milwaukee as well. I think Milwaukee is still poised to take the crown, and I hate to say that because I would love to see Phoenix grab it because they've never gotten one. I would love to see Memphis grab it because I think they haven't gotten one. But the height of Giannis, is just and the physicality of Drew Holiday and the shooting of Chris Middleton is just going to be a lot for them to handle. What do you think?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I agree with you on those. And Memphis is tough, right? Memphis is a good team. Milwaukee's a good team. Obviously, they won the finals last year. And we'll see. Right now, those are looking like some favorites to get there, right?
Right.
Bucks aren't as dominant as last year. And the Memphis Grizzlies are still a very young team on the rise. So we will see how they can do. You said, who changed our colors? Yeah, I was trying to get that fixed in the background. We'll get that fixed. Having someone come in and hack the stream, Jay. I don't know who that was. I didn't get a chance to check real quick. But
they put that new overlay on that ASAP has and stuff, and so yeah. But
I'll try and get color changed in our next topic. Let's see what we got here. I think we're getting near the end, Jay. The KBO, right? The Korean baseball. They're going to be evaluating some umps this year and grading their performance. So it says the KBO states their umpires will be individually evaluated this upcoming season, and those with poor grades will get demoted to the minor leagues. I love this, Jay. I want this to happen in MLB.
You know, this is something that has been probably needed to happen for a long time. It's been needed to happen for a long time because of the fact that nobody really can call the strike zone consistently. It's either too high or too low or too in or too out, but they can never seem to get it correct in that strike zone. Right. And you're either going to do like they're doing in AAA and bring up electronic umpires to call your balls and strikes, or you're going to get these guys on a more consistent scale, which is why I'm guessing they're going to grade them and then, either demote them or keep them. Let me be honest with you. Hey, look, if you can't cut the mustard, then you need to be demoted. You do. And here's the thing. I want to keep humanistic umpires. I like the human element of the game versus the computer element of the game. But at the same time, if you can't call it consistently for everybody, then maybe, either A, we demote you or bring somebody who can. And if we can't find somebody, then we need to go through the electronic umpires out of AAA.
Yeah, Frank saying the Astros moved to the KBO. I was saying once baseball starts, we're coming for you. Look, I'm just saying, man, baseball looks like it ain't going to start on time. So the Braves going to have an even more extended World Series run. It's looking like they're still meeting, right? They've met, I think, today, yesterday. Nothing's happening. So it got heated. I don't know what all was about. But it's looking like spring training might not start on time, Jay. So that's not a good sign. As for this, man, like I said, I like the human element, but I hate whenever they mess up pretty easy strike ball calls, especially when they're egregious. But I like this, though. I like that the KBO is going to be kind of cracking down a little bit and saying, look, if you're not up to par, if you're not the top of the top with our organization, you don't deserve to be here. We're going to demote you. And then once you pay your dues back in the minor leagues, if you do good there, then we might bring you back up, just like a player. So I'm all for it because there's a lot of MLB umpires who probably should not be behind the home plate right now. Let's be honest here.
I absolutely agree with you.
All right, on to our last topic. A little bit of kind of breaking news today. Brian Flores, right? The guy who we all feel wrongfully let go with the Dolphins is now saying it's wrongful with both the Dolphins and the Broncos and the New York Giants. He is suing all those teams, including, Jay, the National Football League, for alleged racism. I'll pull up the text conversations and stuff like that, but I want you to give your thoughts on all this first because this was crazy.
Hey, this is what I want to do. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this.
Okay.
And then we'll play an ASAP promo, and then you're going to wrap it up with your thoughts.
That sounds good.
Here we go. Brian Flores. I absolutely agree. And I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've been saying this for a really long period of time. I've been saying that there's got to be a reason. Something's got to be going on that Brian Flores isn't being hired. And Freddie Henderson's team is the New York Giants. And this is where it gets a little saucy for me. For those of you who don't know, Freddie Henderson is the president of All Sports, All Plays Network. He's our boss, and we love him. But I really am kind of curious because he's been kind of joking about switching teams now from the New York Giants. And by all accounts, Freddie, I think you have switched teams. I know you're a Packer in disguise. And maybe you should become a Packer full time. Because what the Giants are doing and what they did is despicable. And let's be honest, a lot of people, I don't know how Brian Belichick does it. He just is always in the center of greatness. What I mean by that is, we probably would have never known about these emails had Brian Belichick.
Bill Belichick.
I'm saying Brian Belichick. Bill Belichick not let the dog or the cat out of the bag when he texted Flores saying, hey, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. And Flores is over there thinking to himself, wait a minute, I didn't hear that.
Let me read those text messages.
What are you talking about?
For everyone not familiar, Bill Belichick is not the most technologically savvy human on the earth. So Brian Flores in his suing, in his lawsuit, all that, he released these text messages. Bill Belichick said to him, "Sounds like you've landed. Congrats." Then Flores says, "Did you hear something I didn't? Or did you hear something I didn't hear?" And then Bill Belichick said, "Giants," with a bunch of question marks. And then Flores says, "I answered you on Thursday. I think I have a shot at it." Belichick says, "Got it. I hear from Buffalo and the Giants that you are their guy. Hope it works out if you want to. If you want it to." Then Flores says, "That's definitely what I want. I hope you're right, Coach. Thanks." Then he says, "Coach, are you talking to Brian Flores or Brian Dabble? Just making sure." So then Coach Belichick says, "Sorry, I effed this up. I double-checked and I misread the text. I think they are naming Dabble. I'm sorry about that, BB." And then Flores says, "Thanks, Bill." So,
wow.
Hey,
and that's the thing. That's the thing, right? So
we got Frankie saying the Bills are starting-ish. I love it.
Hey, and that's the thing. So Bill stepped on his own feet, and you know what?
But to be fair, though, Jay, if it wasn't for Belichick even texting him, right, not like congratulating the wrong Brian, none of this probably would have ever happened.
Right.
So those were the first thing I sent y'all. So then I looked into the lawsuit a little bit, and I found these two interesting tidbits here. So in one of the subsections or whatever, it says, incredibly, this was not Mr. Flores' first sham interview. Or sorry, let me go to the here we go. So it says, on Wednesday, January 26, 2022, Mr. Flores was forced to sit through a dinner with Joe Shine, the Giants' new general manager, knowing that the Giants had already selected Mr. Dabble. Much worse, on Thursday, January 27th, Flores had to give an extensive interview for a job that he already knew he would not get. An interview that was held for no reason other than for the Giants to demonstrate falsely to the league commissioner, Roger Goodell, and the public at large that it was in compliance with the Rooney Rule. The Giants would, and in the next section, the Giants would likely have gotten away with this most insidious form of discrimination if New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick had not mistakenly disclosed it to Mr. Flores in those text messages I just read you.
Now, hold on one
second. Imagine going to your dream job, right? Imagine going, saying, it's you and some other guy, right? And you find out from a coworker or whoever that they've already got the job, but you still have to go interview it. You still have to go through with it. You still have to sit through, nod your head, shake some hands, and you know that they've already said they're going to sign this other guy and that they're just doing it just to fit that Rooney Rule we spoke about earlier, where you have to interview a minority head coach. Frankie said, "You can't tell me Bill don't have last names on his contact. He's old school. He knew what he was doing." He said he hates the Giants taking 2 rings, payback.
Hey, I have a very.
I'll talk about the Broncos and the Dolphins yet, but give me your thoughts about the whole Giants situation, because that's the big one here.
All right, I'm gonna give my thoughts. Let's take a commercial break, and then you're gonna fill us in for the last part of this.
Sounds
hey,
good, buddy.
Here's my thing. If I'm Brian Flores,
I'm going for the throat, man. I'm getting some money.
And you're telling me, that, hey, and I know that, hey, listen, you've already given the job to Dabble. Why are you bringing me in?
Yep.
I'm not going in. Not only am I not going in, but I'm going to go talk to NFL, man. I'm going to go talk to my lawyers, and then we're going to take it from there.
Right.
I'm not interviewing with you. I'm not going to do it. Because what's the point? I'm going to talk to my lawyers. We're going to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to fill out the best course of action, and my lawyers will be in touch with you where we go from here. That's what I'm doing.
Frank saying, "Come back where you belong, and you are welcome." # New England. All right, like Jay said, we're going to take a quick commercial break real quick, and we will give our thoughts on the Broncos and the Dolphins situation in just a second. Don't go anywhere.
What did you say?
I said Kobe Bean Bryant has been overrated ever since he passed away.
Now, I'd say they could lose about 4, but I don't see them losing 5. You know what I mean?
Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays.
All right, Jay, we're going to take it back all the way to 2019. Back when Flores was still trying to get a head coaching job, right? He went to the Denver Broncos. In that same lawsuit, it says, incredibly, this was not Mr. Flores' first sham interview that was held only in an effort to comply with the Rooney Rule. In 2019, Mr. Flores was scheduled to interview with the Denver Broncos. However, the Broncos' then general manager, John Elway, president and chief executive officer, Joe Ellis, and others showed up an hour late to the interview. They looked completely disheveled, and it was obvious that they had been drinking heavily the night before. It was clear from the substance of the interview that Mr. Flores was interviewed only because of the Rooney Rule, and that the Broncos never had any intention to consider him as a legitimate candidate for the job. Shortly thereafter, Vic Fangio, a white man, was hired to be the head coach of the Broncos. And we all know he just got fired a couple weeks ago. So, Jay, the GM and a bunch of other guys show up to an interview hungover. That's not a good look. What were your thoughts on that? Because that was kind of shocking also, obviously.
Yeah, you know, and the thing about it, the crazy thing about it is Fangio's name is basically kind of linked to this travesty that happened to Brian Flores, and I hate that because we all know Fangio went on to win a Super Bowl. But it's almost like you're tainting that Super Bowl. When I say you're tainting it, I'm talking about the Broncos upper echelon, John Elway more in particular, and his echelon really tainted that Super Bowl because the way you handled the Brian Flores situation. Yep. Had you gone in there and handled that interview in the way in which it was supposed to be handled, then you can state whatever case you want to state. But when you go in there late, an hour late, and you've been drinking, and you have very little substance to your interview, it just makes you look horrible. I would love to see, because I'm sure it's going to come out, just what all went down, like what all was said, what all they asked him. Because, I mean, it was just kind of vague in that statement. But I'm curious to see like what specific. And shame on the Broncos, man. Honestly, shame on the Broncos for not giving a guy a legitimate shot. Like, why are you going to waste my damn time?
You have me show up to this interview, wait an extra hour, and then you're obviously hungover from the night before. That's just disrespectful.
Absolutely, it is. It is, and it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
It does. And now let's go on to the team he was just fired from recently, Jay, the Miami Dolphins. We all know some of the heat that's over there, right? With he doesn't like Tua. He said Tua was lazy. He wanted Deshaun Watson. All of that, right?
Yeah.
So now it's coming out, Jay, and this is from Alex Weprin on Twitter. Flores says that Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, offered to pay him $100,000 for every loss during the 2019 season.
Right.
Let me just reiterate that. The owner was going to pay him $100,000 extra per loss, just to tank. And then also to help the team get a better draft spot. And the owner was mad when the Dolphins kept winning. In 2019, the Dolphins finished 5-11, right? That's when they got Tua. But come on, Jay. Your owner is encouraging you to lose for draft picks, and he's going to bribe you with money.
Yeah.
What?
And it puts you in a really bad situation because you're trying to, win games, and then you got somebody basically telling you to lose, and you're like, no, I'm not going to go out there and lose. I'm not coaching to lose. I'm coaching to win. You want me to compromise my integrity,
right?
So you can get draft picks
for a draft picking, so I can get my pockets fatter. That's it.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't discussed in the interview when I took this job.
Right.
So what happens? So I lose games for you, get draft picks,
and I get a couple extra $1,000.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, man, even if he took that really horrible, proposition,
right?
I think it comes back to bite him in the end because it gives ownership a reason to fire him if it doesn't work out and they can't win games for whatever reason.
Right.
And it just gives the ownership all the leverage they need to say, see, we gave him a shot. He didn't get it, blah, 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 and it's just a bad way to do business. It's just bad business all the way around.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, that Dolphins team ended up going 5-11. They won their final 2 games of the season also against the Bengals and Patriots because they were 3-11 going into Week 16. Then they finished up the year 5-11. So obviously, Flores was still playing to win. So the NFL released a statement, and it's general, right? They're not going to say nothing like that. So their general statement was on the Brian Flores' suit. Quote, the NFL and our clubs are deeply committed to ensuring equitable employment practices and continue to make progress in providing equitable opportunities throughout our organizations. Diversity is core to everything we do. And there are a few issues on which our clubs and our internal leadership team spend more time. We will defend against these claims, which are without merit? Without merit, Jay.
Right.
Even though there's text messages, it seems to me, I'm just going to give my final words on this before I have you round things out. I think Brian Flores, did he maybe just cost himself ever coaching again in the NFL? Yes. He might not get hired, but he's fighting for something bigger, Jay. Right? He's got receipts. It's not just a claim, right? He's got text messages. He's got the other claims with the Dolphins and the Broncos and all that. He's got proof, and it looks like he's going to fight this thing. So, more power to him. I hope he gets this money, gets whatever he wants out of it, because just from what we've seen, we're going to see more over the next coming weeks and months. It looks pretty bad on the NFL and all of the teams associated. Because, let's face it, Jay, there's still a very much lack of minority presence in the coaching realm of the NFL, in the GMs and the owners and everything.
But let me ask you this.
No,
I'm sorry, my bad.
Go ahead.
My issue, Logan, this is where my issue, and I want to ask you, I want to get your thoughts too on this. Mm-hmm. And I want everybody to understand, because this is a super sensitive situation, super sensitive. And I don't want to be taken out of context. I don't want to be misunderstood. I want to be absolute clarity when I speak. My only concern, and this is really me playing devil's advocate for what could happen. Uh-huh. First of all, I personally believe that this is, racially motivated at some level. But the text messages that you read don't read in a racial way. Right. It's not like they're using the N-word. It's not like they're making jokes or something like that or talking derogatory. It's just text messages,
Right.
So here's the thing. And I'm looking at, if I'm Brian Flores, how can I prove? And if I'm the Brian Flores lawyers, if I'm the lawyer for Brian Flores, how am I going to prove that this is racial? Yes, okay, a black man was denied, a white man was hired. Okay, and if that's all you have, is that really enough? Because what we could say, Logan, what the alternative to that could be is the $100,000 to lose could be termed, instead of racially done, it could be looked at as unethical. It could be an ethical debate. Mm-hmm. Was it ethical to ask him to do this? And the same thing with the Giants issue. Was it racially motivated or just unethical because they already hired the guy they wanted? Because let's be honest, he's still linked to the general manager showing from Buffalo. Maybe that was just Buffalo's guy. Maybe that's just who he wanted, because that's who he was familiar with and thought could do the best job for him. So he hired him, but he knew that he had to comply with the Rooney Rule, so he had to bring in a candidate, which I think is stupid. I don't support it, but anyway. But what I'm saying is that more of an ethical thing, mm-hmm. or is it a racial thing? That's where I'm trying to understand or get comprehension on. Are these things that we're talking about? Because, again, you can go even to Denver. They came in. They didn't give him the just desserts, but did they already have their minds made up? And so they said, we're going to go out and do whatever we do, which is it still an ethical? Is a poor judgment on their part? Is a poor judgment and bad ethics on all three parts, all three parties, all three parties? Is it bad ethics or is it racism? And I don't know how to make the distinction between the two, Logan. And that's where I personally struggle with all of this, because I want to believe it's bad ethics and not racism. But at the same time, I understand the time in which we live in, and it could be, and most likely probably is, racism.
Right. It's probably a combination of both, honestly, right? Because you brought up a good point. Ethically, it's bad to show up to an interview late and drunk. You shouldn't do that for whoever you're interviewing. You shouldn't have to find out that you're going to be going to a sham interview when you already know the spot's already taken. When you get a congratulatory text message the day before you're supposed to get hired, something's not right there, right? And with like I mentioned, with the lack of diversity especially in head coaching, right? There are probably 3 or less black head coaches in the NFL. There's 30 plus teams. And for Flores, who we've all said on the show since he got fired, this dude needs to be hired somewhere. He is now, I found a quote here, Jay, from what he says about all this in his lawsuit. I want to read it. He says, "God has gifted me with a special talent to coach the game of football, but the need for change is bigger than my personal goals," Flores said in a release put out by the law firm representing him in the case. "In making the decision to file this class action complaint today, I understand that I may be risking coaching the game that I love and that has done so much for my family and me. My sincere hope is that by standing up against the systematic racism in the NFL, others will join me to ensure that positive change is made for generations to come." So what that tells me, Jay, is over the next few days, over the next few weeks, I feel we're going to have some more stories come out. And they're going to paint the NFL in a very good picture. So we'll see how it does. We're gonna ultimately give you guys updates on what all's going on with this. It's a big topic, right? It's gonna keep going on for a while. If I'm Brian Flores, I hope he gets another head coaching job because he deserves it. He's a great head coach in Miami. Got 2 winning seasons. You know, if his I'm not sure what his MO is for the lawsuit, whether it's to just have a widespread change, right? Much like the Rooney Rule, make it even more stricter. We'll see as that plays out. We're not sure. But, you know, it takes a lot of guts, Jay, to sue the NFL, to sue all these teams. And we'll see how it does. Give me your final thoughts, and then we'll close out the show.
My final thought on this whole topic is I want justice to be brought out.
Right.
And if it's in the form of, you know, Brian Flores's favor of it being actual racism, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it because I don't stand for racism any more than anybody else stands for racism that has a conviction towards it, right? So, for example, you know, Rogan, I know you're against it as well and stuff. I know Frankie's against it. So, I mean, I support, just like you guys, that racism is wrong no matter what happens, right? Because I wouldn't want somebody judging me on my skin tone no more than I would want anybody to judge another person on their skin tone. It's automatically wrong. The problem I see with the system is this, and this is where I think it gets really, really difficult, and this is where it gets really super sensitive to talk about this subject matter, is because, you know, how do you determine what is and is not racism if it's not blatant? If it's not blatant, how do we really know it's racism? Like, what benchmark are we using? Because I don't know what the benchmark is, Logan. And I feel like, and I say that to say this, I feel like the system in which the NFL uses, or anybody uses for that matter, regardless, has to improve. The benchmark has to improve. The standard of which we determine has to improve. Because right now, the way the NFL is doing it, I feel like is subject to error on either party.
Right.
It's just not clear enough how we're going about doing this. And I think for African Americans and other minorities, it needs to be better. The NFL needs to do better on enforcing it and developing the standard that everybody needs to go by. Because the way it is right now, it's too vague. It's just too vague, and I think that it's just set up for failure. It's just always set up for failure the way it's currently set up.
It's two white guys, right, Jay? We're just giving our thoughts on this because, look, that's what we do. But if we've seen Brian Flores coach his final game as a head coach, right, if this is going to – I've seen people say torpedo his career, he's going out guns blazing, Jay. He's going out in a blaze of glory because he's going after teams, he's going after executives, he's going after Goodell in the NFL, and we'll see what comes out of it. Because, you know, the NFL has the fight racism things in the end zone on their helmets and stuff like that. But that's not sincere, you know? That was just something they did just to generate some buzz. That's not sincere. So we'll see what changes come out of this because you know something's going to happen. Something big, I think, is going to come out of this. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm not going to predict that. Right. But I think that the aftershock of all of this is going to be even bigger than the initial just buzz this got when it first came out today. And we will see how this ends. Hopefully on a good note for Brian Flores. Like I said, I hope he still gets a job somewhere. He deserves it. And hopefully all this can get resolved. Hopefully he can, like you said, we can right some of these injustices in the NFL. And, everyone can go back to just playing some football, having a good time. And because we don't like talking about all these sensitive subjects. That's not what we're here for, man. No, it's just this is a big. We got to talk about this.
Hey, hashtag Brian Flores to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean that. I've been saying that for the longest, and I'm praying that one day Jerry Jones is going to hear me on this, and Jerry's going to be like, you know what? Jay's been a loyal fan to me for a long time now, and he's gone through a lot of losing seasons. So maybe I'm going to listen to Jay, and maybe I'm going to go hire Brian Flores, and we can get back to the Super Bowl. So Jerry Jones or Stephen Jones, if you're out there listening, hire Brian Flores. You will not be disappointed.
Okay. We will see what happens. End the show on a positive note. Frankie says, Jay looks like Logan's older brother with just a beard and some glasses. There we are. That's how we're in the show tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
That's a bad thing or a good thing, Logan, because I'm pretty ugly, so I'm hoping he's wrong.
What are you trying to say here, Frank? I need you to DM me after the show, and we can have some fighting words. But thanks, guys, so much for tuning in. Like I said, we go live Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Saturdays at 8. We're live on Unscripted at our Facebook page. Please go over there, like it, comment it, and be sure to follow the page for all the updates. Go over to the ASAP Network, the All Sports All Plays channel, on YouTube and on Facebook for amazing sports content 24/7. They have a ton of stuff over there. Go support them. They give us a great platform to talk about whatever is going on in the world, right? Whether it's more sensitive stuff, whether it's just fun topics, we are here for all of it. For my co-host Jay McLovin, thanks so much for coming on talking some sports with me. I've been your producer, Logan Layers. Guys, have a great night, and we will see you on Thursday at 7 o'clock. Have a good night.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making a place. You're talking the game, get you through the days. We're hiding the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports.